What is up? Welcome back to another episode of the Wired Sound podcast. Today we have a very special guest. We have Carter, aka Cartfish. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. So, you came to the academy about a little over a year ago, and you've been crushing it. So I'm happy we could get you on here.
Trying. Yeah, I think, what month is it? April, May, June right now? May? April? Can't keep track. Here about a year ago, and yeah, things have been going really well. Thank you guys so much for sending me off.
Yeah. I love one thing that really has stuck out with you is you've been throwing your own events, like the coffee pop-up events. I know I DJ'd the first one, and then you had the second one a week ago or so, right?
Yeah, I think it was last weekend.
Okay. So what was that process like of building out your own event and making that decision to go into that?
Yeah, so yes, the coffee shop pop-ups. I'm sure you guys, the viewers, have seen these. If you're on social media, they're popping up all over the place. If not, just to give you some insight as to what it is, people are doing parties at coffee shops at like 10 in the morning as opposed to partying at a club at 10 p.m. So I saw a few Instagram videos pop up and I was like, that looks really cool. And although I'm a DJ, I do like to sleep. And I was like, hey, this sounds really fun, a morning event. Mm-hmm. So I was like, let's try it here in Fort Lauderdale. I hadn't seen one pop up myself. So like long story short, I pitched the idea to a local coffee shop called Circle House Coffee. They made me wait like a month and a half or so because of some scheduling issues on their end. And the reason I'm saying that is because by the time we got around to doing our event, there was already like 3 or 4 other ones in Fort Lauderdale.
Scheduled for the coffee shop?
Yeah,
stuff?
there was like, I was like, okay, we'll be the first people to do this.
Yeah.
But by the time we got around to it, there was a few other competitors. But
yeah.
That being said, super cool event. We've done like 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and I like it because it's like all ages are welcome. So
yeah.
The majority of people are
10-year-olds.
Yeah, there's like kids. It sounds kind of weird, but it makes sense. It's like 10 in the morning. People are sober, at least I think they are.
Yeah.
But they've been going really well.
Yeah.
Or they're coming from the club. I don't really know.
Space, yeah. Yeah, I think we'll see, because sometimes that's what happens with the dance world. Like a trend happens and everyone starts doing like their own interpretations of it, and then it kind of phases out to the next thing. But I could see it being its own just like form of a club, because people are getting sick of having to go out and party to listen to house music or dance music.
Yeah.
So it could just evolve into its own section of the dance music world, where everyone, obviously, it's a newer thing, so we don't know how it's going to evolve just yet. But I just mean like the coffee shop DJ thing in general. I feel like it could lean into like a more, maybe a festival, or I don't know. That could,
maybe, yeah.
Right?
It's like a culture in a way. Yeah, it's like a new culture, more or less. But I could see that if you have the right space, the right community.
It's just a different vibe.
It's a different vibe for sure. And the first one, I was just talking about the first one. I paid a bit for marketing here in Fort Lauderdale, so the turnout was pretty good. I think we had like 100 people come through. The second one, I was like, we'll be able to do it without paying for marketing.
When you say paid, because I think a lot of people that are trying to throw their own events might be curious, like, how are you promoting your own event? Are you doing like Facebook ads, Instagram, stuff like that?
So what I did, and this was the first like real event I've thrown. What I did was found our city's, there's like a Fort Lauderdale downtown like stuff to do page, and people follow that page specifically to see what events are coming up in Fort Lauderdale. So odds are if you're in a big city, you'll have a page like this, like Austin, Texas, down like Chicago. They have stuff to do on the Instagram pages. And I reached out to them and they quoted me, I think it was like $200 or $250 to post my event flyer on their page. And that's what I did, because it's direct to like the local community as opposed to running targeted Facebook ads or something like that. So that's what I did. And then word of mouth. Like I said, it wasn't like a massive event. Yeah. But it was a good turnout. So that's what I did.
That's smart, actually. Yeah. I think people forget about like traditional marketing, because everyone's like, you got to run influencer-based ads or like TikTok or Facebook. But like sometimes just going to like your community's page where they're posting events makes more sense, and you get more out of it for the money that you're spending.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. Like if I'm curious as to what's going on in the city, if it's like a general event, or if I have like family in town or whatever, this page is posting like the top events in the city. If it's EDM specific, obviously it might be a little bit different, but that's the one thing I did. And then partnered with the coffee shop, because they have their community, and then Wired Sound Academy as well. So that was kind of my little marketing tactic.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think you're going to start throwing more events, or, because I think it's becoming with you have a bunch of DJs, right? And everyone wants to play these same spaces. So then what else can DJs do besides throw their own events, right? I think that's the next logical step for a lot of DJs is throwing these pop-up events to kind of build their name out. And you already have your name going and everything, but do you think you're going to keep doing your own events or?
Yeah, well, so what you said, like the next step, like once you DJ a bit and you're like, okay, cool, I'm DJing at the club here, whatever. For me, the thought like naturally popped in my mind. I was like, maybe I could put on my own event. Because for me, if I'm DJing at a club or, a bar, a lot of times, and this is just me personally, I'll be like complaining about like one thing or the music style or this or that. And in my mind, I'm
controlled.
like, if you throw your own event, you can set the vibe, you can bring in the DJs you want. All of that stuff is in your control. Not to be like a control freak, but as a DJ, if you're watching this and you're a DJ, you probably know what I mean. So yes, I think that if you get to a certain point and you're not like so overwhelmed, throwing an event is a great thing. And the reason, or one of the big reasons that I did it and I wanted to put on my own events, plural, is because it kind of is building my portfolio and my brand image. DJing is probably the best place to start. Then maybe hosting events, producing music, maybe getting into your own label. Like all of those things combined are really good on paper, but they're also good for you to learn and grow as an artist, DJ, producer, all that stuff. And with me, what I'm trying to do is like build myself as a producer, a DJ, an artist, all of these things. And if I get to a point where I'm like pitching myself, I can be like, hey, I DJ here, I have a label, I produce music, I put on events, as opposed
adding
to being
value.
Exactly. So it's like a full package, and it shows you're multifaceted and all of these things. Nothing wrong with just DJing. That's just like my kind of mindset at the moment.
Yeah,
so.
and I think you could also like potentially gig swap. So I don't think a lot of DJs, I don't know if this might be some insider information for DJs, but this is a thing in the DJ industry where DJs will be like, hey, I book for this spot. I can get you at this spot if you get me over here. And so having your own event gives you the power to potentially gig swap to help build your repertoire.
Yeah.
I know a lot of DJs personally who've built a bunch of shows by gig swapping.
Yeah, no, I haven't thought about that too much, but that does make sense.
Yeah.
And I think another part of your question that I didn't answer was like throwing more events, which goes hand in hand with gig swapping. I want to, but I will say throwing events and hosting events is stressful because aside from not knowing who's going to show up and all of that stuff, while you are in control, you're in control. So you're in control of the production, the music.
If something goes wrong, it's on you.
If the venue's out of water, like if it's not a legit club that's meant to host, house music events like a coffee shop, like those are all things that you're kind of like, oh shit, I have to deal with this. So I do want to do more events, but it's a lot. Like it's just a lot, but it's fun. It's rewarding.
Yeah. I think a lot of artists are, we're creative, so we don't like. It's kind of part of the business side of things, and so it doesn't mesh well sometimes.
Yeah,
it's only for certain artists that could pull it off because it's a lot to take on.
It's a lot, and again, this was like a 100-person event, so we'll see
if we got more
next.
coming. All right,
yeah, but
we can team up on another one or something.
Yeah, I know. I want to. The next one you're doing.
So,
I'll be there in spirit.
All right, so I know you played Brooklyn Mirage, right? Like about 6 months?
Yeah, that was just like a wild...
Oh, my God. What was that? Because that's, I think, one of the biggest venues in the U.S., I would say.
Yes, it is. And that I won a contest for that, just full transparency. I didn't start DJing
that's so awesome.
and get booked at the Brooklyn Mirage like right away, but I did do that.
So wait, what was the contest and how like...
So I actually was literally in Wired when I was like submitting my mix for this contest. It's this guy that runs a lot of events for Pride. Okay. And New York Pride was coming up, and they're doing an event at the Brooklyn Mirage. It's a huge event called Planet Pride. And they had a DJ contest. I submitted it, and I knew someone that worked with this producer, and I DM'd the guy on Instagram. I was like, hey, just letting you know I submitted a mix, blah, blah, blah. And they picked my mix. To be honest, social media had a big part in that, I think. I don't know for sure, but...
Okay, you have like 200,000?
Yeah, I have a big following. We can get into that as well, like why I have the followers, because I'd like to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm curious about that, too.
But I think that played a big part in it, not to discredit it. But yes, I played at the Brooklyn Mirage, opened for the event called Planet Pride, and it was sick. It was like surreal, because I had been DJing for, I don't know, 4 months or
Yeah,
something. I was like, what the fuck?
That's gotta be nerve-wracking as
Yeah,
shit.
and then like right after
honestly.
me was like Sigala, and then Dobreski,
Oh,
and they brought out like
wow.
Kesha. It was like it was sick. But
Yeah, it's a stacked
I was like,
lineup,
whoa.
too.
Yeah, so
Did you
that
chat
was
with
cool.
any like Sigala or Dombrowski?
No, it was very like
industry.
Yeah, it was very like organized. But I felt cool.
Yeah.
Had a great time. We got some good content. So, and I've done a few more events with that same producer.
Okay.
So it's been good. Like I just did Utopia.
So these are Pride events because you're big in the Pride community.
Yeah. So the Planet Pride was a Pride event. The recent one that I did is called Utopia Festival.
Okay.
And it's in Isla Mujeres, off of the coast of Cancun. It is a predominantly gay festival.
Yeah.
But there was like guys, girls there, and the artists. Like I opened for like Annabelle England, Kalina Zanders was there. There was a lot of good talent there. So I've done some work with that producer quite a bit.
Yeah, house music. I mean, I was founded in the Pride community and like right. Is
I don't know. I just always hear like Chicago.
That's what I hear, but yeah, I think that's where it got its origins in like the 70s or 80s. We'd have to do a deep dive.
I don't know. There's like a. Yeah, controversial subject.
Yeah, well, whatever. That's the truth. I mean, we'll pull up an article and see if that has any facts. But I'm pretty sure that's where it originated, which is really cool in like the 80s. Yeah, I played a Pride event. I think it must have been 2 or 3 years ago. It was me and Cedric Gervais in Chicago. It was for one of the big. I forgot the name of the festival. But it was an August Pride event, and they said it was like one of the biggest weekends.
Pride in the Park, maybe.
I have to look. It was at House of Blues, Chicago, which is like a legendary venue. It was cool. The energy is awesome too.
Yeah, I mean the gays are crazy. The gays are crazy.
So how did you build the following going? Because before you came to the school, you had a good following. I think that's something that's interesting for DJs. Like, should they try and build that following before becoming a DJ, or wait to become a DJ to do it?
And I know you guys have talked about obviously social media.
Yeah,
it's just it is what it is, and it's pretty fucking annoying, right? Like we all can agree on that, but it's a big part of the game. I actually saw a video of, I think it was James Hype, and he was like, "Is social media more important than the music in 2025?" And he was like, "I think it is." Yeah.
I mean, listen, it sucks, but at the same time, if you go back 10, 15 years ago, what was happening was you just had middlemen controlling who was popular. You know, so that's the only difference. Like now, at least you have more control.
Yeah.
Before it was like you had to impress these people that were like the label execs or agents that are like, yes, this person's got it. Now you don't. At least that cut that out, so it's direct to consumer. You know what I mean?
You have more control.
So yeah, so it sucks. But at the same time, probably 100, 200, 1,000 artists that would never have been popular are popular because they actually deserved it or whatever. They marketed themselves the right way, but at least it gives you the power.
Yeah.
You know. You think music? Well, that is, I guess the other side is, music. Everyone copies each other because they think of the trends, but like you always see the real ones pop through, like the Notion Days remix. Like that was bringing something new to the scene, and that's why I think it got so big. And you saw like the Coachella set he played. Insane energy, people like everyone singing along. So I think when someone does bring something new to the table, you see that, and social media aside, it'll cut through.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's just my take on it.
People are always going to complain about something, right? It's like,
Yeah.
you never win. But the following thing. So yes, long story short, during COVID, I met my fiance. We started posting videos on TikTok like everyone else because there was nothing better to do. And we just naturally started growing a following on TikTok, on Instagram, and we would post videos together, like just relatable, kind of cringy, corny couples content. And we got to a point where he had his Instagram and his TikTok, I had my Instagram and my TikTok. And I remember we got to a point where we were like, who's going to post this video? Because we're both in it. You couldn't collab at the time on Instagram. Like there wasn't that feature. And we were like, let's just make a joint account. And we're like, okay, so we did that. So then we got to the point where we were posting, videos on our joint couples account on TikTok, on Instagram, my personal Instagram, my personal TikTok, his personal Instagram, his personal TikTok. That's 7.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, and that's before YouTube and all. So we just kept doing that. And we're both competitive. And I think like I was not in social media when I started doing this. I was a recruiter for 4 years in technology, corporate. And we were really competitive, and I was like, dang it, and it's toxic. We're not like this anymore. I was like, dang it, he got more followers than me. I got to catch up. And we just like built our stuff up. So my point is that we kept doing this, and up until about a year and a half ago, my content was focused on that, like relatable content for the LGBTQIA plus community specifically, but not just gay people, and just like that type of content. A lot of it was like thirst traps, you know. Again, up until about a year and a half ago, I got into the DJing stuff, the music stuff, and I started to shift my content more towards that, while still giving them Carter, you know, like my personality, some of my fiance, integrating the two. And with that, a lot of people fell off. Like my engagement went down naturally because they followed me for this reason. Yeah, and I'm like, hey, I'm a DJ now. I'm producing music, this, like all this stuff. I didn't lose all of my followers, but I had a dip for sure. And ever since then, over the last year and a half or so, I've slowly tried to like build that back up. And like, that's like the background of my following and my followers and that type of thing. So the reason I'm talking about that is because when you look at my page, like, okay, you know, you have 200 whatever thousand followers, but that doesn't mean that my post about this song coming out is going to 200,000 people. You know, especially with the algorithm always changing. It's like, so it's like a blessing and a curse in a way. But that's the story of my following, my followers, that type of thing. Yeah. So,
I mean, I think you could use it. You could try and use it to like, at least it might help with talent buyers or people at these venues being like, you know, I could potentially bring this crowd. But I think the important thing, what you said, is figuring out a way to maybe intertwine it so you don't lose your personality that you built up, and somehow figure out how to mesh it with the music and make it make sense for people.
I mean, that's what I'm still very much so doing that. Even today, I had planned this like earlier this week, but I realized that I don't have like a post on my page talking about who Carter is, where I came from, like what my background is. My page, unless you scroll way back, is just like me DJing, my music, like some of my dogs, some of Alex.
Some origin story.
Yeah, so I actually posted that today, just like, hey, I literally say in the first line, I'm like, hey guys, I realized that like a lot of you don't know who the fuck I am. Yeah. And this is who I am. Like, and I had Alex ask me questions as like an interview style.
Oh God, that's
like,
genius.
It's like, this is where I came from. This is what I did before I was in DJing. You know, I'm from this small town in Delaware. Okay. And then we did like rapid fire questions, and it was like chocolate or vanilla, or like mountains or the beach, like stuff like that.
How'd it do? Like,
I just posted it.
Okay, we'll see.
It's doing okay, but it's like, it's one of those pieces of content where it's not a viral piece of content. It's like to build connection with your audience.
I think the age of the viral artist is dead anyways. At least, you know, you need to have some core following that just loves you and what you're putting out overall. It's not going to work. Like, there's so many artists that have just had the one hit and then labels hopped on and then they got kind of like drained from the end, whatever. Yeah. That story's been told before, but I think where we're shifting to telling like who you are as a person, what you're about, I think it's really important. So, I mean, it's like, Alexia, write that down for me to do it.
Well, it's like people are so busy. Even if you're not like busy that day, you still think you have so much to do. Like in your mind as a human, we're so distracted. Yeah. And I saw a post the other day, and it's very true. I forget the right wording, but it was like, stop with the new track out now. Go save my whatever. It's like they're not going to do that unless they care about you.
It needs to add value.
And they need to care about you, because there's so many new track out now, pre-save this, pre-save that, pre-save that. And it's like, you need to build a relationship. Like, I'll pre-save or buy someone's track on Beatport, one, if I know you personally and we're friends, or if I like relate to you, or if like, I don't know, you support a cause that I care about. And the only reason that I would know about that is if you're posting about that in between like releases and DJ sets. That goes back to the building, you know, personality and showing who you are on the social media aspect. Yeah,
people, I think artists maybe build stuff up in their head, like, oh, people will get this vision, but they don't. You have to like spell stuff out for people. Be like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm about. You know, come along for the ride. I think it's important to figure out how to do that the right way.
It's hard.
I'm still figuring it out.
Like, I am too, and I've been doing the social media thing now for, like I said, 3-4 years, and it's new to me because it's a whole new like world, the music space. I'm not just posting about, you know, the relationship stuff or the relatable stuff. So yeah, it's definitely tricky, but We can do it.
Yeah.
We can do it.
All right. So, any cool so you've been doing it for about a year. So I'm sure you've had some interesting tour experiences or any crazy tour experiences that come to mind of I cannot believe that just happened. I guess Brooklyn Mirage was probably one of them.
Yeah, I mean, that was really sick. I mean, this most recent Utopia, the festival, it wasn't during my set per se, but at the end of the festival, it was Monday morning at 6 a.m. It was
it's an all-nighter festival?
Yeah, it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Each day was a pool party, then a night party until 7 or 8 a.m. This is sick, and it's ridiculous. But I remember they called all the artists and the performers on stage Monday morning during the last little set. And I actually have a video on my page, but there was a stampede of people doing a tornado in the crowd. And that was just a core memory for me because while I wasn't DJing, I was up there with my friends who were DJing, and there was thousands of people on the beach in Mexico at 7 a.m. I think they were playing Eye of the Tiger or something, and it was just insane. I'll show you the video.
So it was sand. Were you seeing the sand kind of?
I'll show you the video. It was just craziness, but that
we'll
just
clip
popped
that
up.
to have
yeah,
that
I can
play
send
over
it to you.
it.
But DJing stuff, I've lost 3 pairs of Sennheiser headphones, which is
my
stuck with me unfortunately. I've
Are
done
you
a
on
lot
USB
of
sticks or
USB sticks? I haven't had any issues with those.
Okay.
Knock on wood.
Next show, they're gone.
No, but I've done some events that a lot of the people watching, if they're DJs, probably have never done because I am niche in a few of the events that I do with being in the gay world. Mm-hmm. I've done a handful of leather themed parties where guys are just and girls are just in leather outfits, like fetish type stuff.
That's what is it?
Those are pretty interesting.
I think Bergen is that what that is
Germany?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what that.
I mean,
Bergen. There, you don't have to have. I thought it was all leather. Are you?
Yeah.
You don't think it's a BDSM? I thought Bergen was a BDSM. Okay, I don't know.
I mean,
I'd find some clips of it, but I don't think they exist for Bergen. You can't take any videos.
No, but those are, they're different. They're interesting because I'm DJing, but I'm also wow, these people are dressed this is entertaining to say the least. Yeah, I haven't done any shows with live sex parties or anything like that.
I played a swingers club.
Okay.
I didn't know it was that till I got there and was playing it. But
yeah, I haven't had any of that yet. I would do that. I would.
Stamina. Yeah, there's some crazy parties out there.
But it's more in Europe. I feel here
it's Americanized.
I mean, it's a little bit more
toned down a bit.
Yeah,
you got to find the right spots.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to find
this conversation making you uncomfortable.
Yeah, but no. I'm trying to think. I really haven't had, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, too many crazy, messed up stories just yet.
Oh, you'll get there.
Yeah, can't wait.
The swingers club, I had no idea until I literally showed up and was plugging in. They're oh, by the way, people might be doing stuff on the dance floor. I was wait, what? I don't know. Kissing me, Orlando.
I'm pretty numb to that being in the gay world, honestly.
Yeah.
But no, I'll think on that and get back to you.
Yeah. Are you partying? Are you drinking and stuff when you DJ? Are you sober?
It's a good question. I really don't. I'll have maybe one drink. But I just drink water.
Okay.
I
probably
sober.
for the best.
Yeah. I just I don't know. I don't really like drinking too much to begin with, and I think it stems from binge drinking Skull vodka in college.
Yeah.
We would literally we would literally pour the Skull vodka into a Brita filter to act it tasted better
to make the cleanest vodka there
was. Between that and Four Locos in college, I'm scarred. So
I'm
sober
convinced,
DJing.
I'm honestly starting to be convinced that they water alcohol down for the DJs. Because every DJ set I play,
really?
I'll take 4 shots and I'll be completely sober.
I mean,
but then if I'm out with my family or something and I take a shot, I'm gone.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just, is that a specific venue that you're talking about?
No, it's every venue. Maybe it's just adrenaline.
Yeah, it's probably
the
combo of that.
But I feel completely sober. I could drink, I don't know. We'll test it one time.
I mean, no. It's not the worst. No, we don't need a dead mouse.
Yeah, I know. Oh my God, that was bad.
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, so if people didn't see the dead mouse clip, he got pulled. It's another Coachella thing, but dead mouse got pulled off of the Coachella stage for being just It must have been blacked out.
Yeah, it was blacked out.
Was he getting on the mic or was he just playing horrible transitions? Well, yeah, I don't know. Deadmau5 must be going through something right now.
I mean,
he's had like back
I was
to
just
back.
watching it before I came here. Basically, he was doing a back to back with Zoo.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if they were changing over or whatever, but he was DJing.
Well, he had the James Hype thing where he called out James Hype. He's like, "This is real DJing," and then there was that clip of him getting pulled from Coachella.
He was sitting like on the booth monitor, spraying like silly string at Zoo while he was DJing, like just.
Yeah, he was.
And
just,
you could tell they're just like, and then he got on the mic and I forgot what he said. It was something like gibberish to the crowd at one point, and they pulled him. You can hear the production team like, cut the mic.
That must have been such a hard job trying to pull Deadmau5 from the stage. I would not want to be that person.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I know I saw he sold his catalog for like $50 million or something. So maybe he's just like, fuck. He sold like all. I misread this. We'll have to check, but I'm pretty sure he sold his music rights or publishing rights for like $50 million.
I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure. We'll look it up after if it was him. But yeah, maybe he's just like, fuck it. I made 50 mil. I'm just gonna like,
I don't know,
do whatever.
I still, personally, I think it's hilarious, but I think it's disrespectful to Coachella. Obviously,
he doesn't care.
I know he doesn't care, but like,
yeah, I know. But that's also who he is as a person.
I'm like, both sides.
I think it's like
do it again, but don't do it again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's entertaining. Maybe.
Yes.
But maybe, yeah. I guess that's just his brand, though. Like people like kind of know he's gonna be kind of a dick.
I guess.
You know?
I mean, we got.
Yeah, but why? Why retire when you're probably getting paid $1 million a show to get drunk? And that's. Yeah.
I know.
Well, he always said that he made dance music as a joke, like to show how easy it was.
And then sounds kind of like a dig.
Yeah. So, anyways,
no offense.
We're gonna get hate on this post probably from Deadmau5 stands, but yeah.
No, but anyway, yeah. There's always some shit at Coachella.
Yeah, I don't know why he called out James Hype in the Ultra clip like that.
I didn't even see that.
I mean, I kind of get it, but also like, why are you coming at James? Yeah, we should show the progression. It went from like the James Hype clip to the Coachella getting pulled.
And I feel like a lot of stuff on social media is intentional. But intentional too, because it's like, okay,
we're talking.
If I'm not relevant right now, I'm gonna make myself relevant and talk shit about one of the most famous DJs, or show up messed up to the set, or like Grimes, for example. Like I didn't even, like last year.
When she butchered her Coachella set.
And it's like, any press is good press for the most part.
Do you think Katy Perry going to space was
all this stuff?
Well, you think that? Well, all right.
All I know about that is that I am.
We're all talking about Katy Perry, though.
But all I know about that is that I was living for the Wendy's replies. Have you seen that? No. You haven't seen that. That's the stuff that I love. Wendy's on Twitter.
I can imagine her streams have probably gone up a shit ton since. Because people like don't even, you know what I mean?
No, she fell off for sure.
That's what I'm saying. So I feel like sometimes artists intentionally do stuff to piss people off. To like,
Yeah. I mean, let's go to space. Yeah, that's so.
They had to have known that wasn't going to play out right, though. Like,
I don't know.
People are struggling to pay for gas. And
I mean, yeah.
They try to open it out. Oh yeah, there's a whole conspiracy. But anyways, we're all sitting here talking about Katy Perry going to space.
If you haven't seen the Wendy's tweet replies to Katy Perry, you got to do it. The Wendy's is like, can we send her back? And then there's a picture of Katy Perry kissing the ground. And Wendy's tweeted and was like, I kissed the ground and I liked it. Like, I kissed the ground and I liked it. I don't know. They're just...
So anyways, maybe try some fucked up stuff on stage.
I'm going to hold off for a few more years because I am still relatively new, but like...
I've always thought about that. Maybe. Like how many of these artist scenarios, like there's a lot of DJ clips, right? I've seen one where someone paused. There was obviously the Fred Again one where the guy paused it. And then that kind of launched his career, even though it was already Boiler Room. But I saw like another two DJs like, oh, this guy unintentionally wanted to do it back to back. And I'm like, that's definitely staged.
Yeah. 100%.
Like people don't think it's staged, but it is 100% staged. You like, it's great content, but I wonder if that's going to ever get called out. I guess this is me calling it out. But you think people know that these are staged things where someone like bumps into them,
for the most
spills
part.
the drink or something? Yeah, this guy just jumped on the decks and started scratching with me. But it's all staged.
Yeah,
but it
definitely
works.
staged. It works.
So there's
You
something
do
to
it
be
right.
said about that. Should artists be staging stuff during their DJ sets to, I thought about it and I'm like, should I stage some stuff to like
I
help
wouldn't say
promote a
no.
song?
I just feel like you have to come up with like a clever
Way
something
to do
clever,
it.
because if you ask me right now, like what's a good idea to like stage during a set to get a viral clip, I wouldn't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I would need to think on it, and then of course in the moment, especially if you have a big crowd, it's much harder said than done. It's like, am I really gonna do this?
Yeah, it's hard to do it in front of a bunch of people and
Yeah.
stuff, and like, that's genius. They can take a video of you stage. Anyways, we're getting off topic on. I guess not really. This is part of content creation and kind of the landscape we're in.
Yeah.
So are you always thinking about what kind of content should I be putting out? And like, it's a stressful. At least for me, it's kind of a stressful thing. I'm like, shit, I gotta like promote this new track. What's my marketing plan? Like, I'll spend a week making the track, and I'll spend a month focusing on the marketing for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, always. And social media is also my job. Like, that's my main job, is promote advertising for brands.
Mm-hmm.
So that aside, the DJing stuff and the music production and the social media stuff is also always on my mind. My mind is just always social media. It's like 9 to 5, but it's like 9 to 9. Yeah, never ending. But yeah, it's always on my mind. Like, again, pros and cons. But like you said about figuring out a marketing plan for releases and that type of thing, that's what I've been doing for the last month or so. Like, I have a release coming out on May 2nd with this vocalist Lizwie.
Okay.
She's actually really big in the Afro House space. Like,
So is it Afro House?
it's Afro House. Yeah, she's a South African vocalist. Been
Oh, love
supported
it.
by like Black Coffee. Does tracks with Ahmed Spins.
Sick.
It's actually like pretty big. But I submitted the track, and I actually started my own label. It's the first release on my own label, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, that might be premature." It's a whole other story. But long story short, one of my followers reached out when I started DJing. And he was like, hey, I saw you're getting into music, down the line. Maybe we could do something together. He was actually the head of Glasgow Underground for
sick.
marketing, the label based in London. He broke off like 4 months ago, started his own agency. So he's working as my like manager, more or less, for like A&R. And he advised me to kickstart my own label, even being so new. And he explained to me the pros and the cons. So my distributor is through LabelWorks.
Mm-hmm.
And the first release is with Lizwie. Getting back to my point, once I got the track submitted, he's like, okay, cool. Now we have to come up with XYZ marketing plan, all this content, and yada, yada, yada. So it's been like, I have a bankroll of content ready to go once the song hits Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
Which is actually this Friday.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, to that answer your question, yeah, it's never ending. Like, and that's pre-release. Then once it's released, then you're like, okay, now I really got to push content out because the song is out.
I don't see any downside to starting your own label, by the way, because like, I guess you want the cosign, but especially if you have a following. Okay. If you have a following, like starting your own label, why not? You can, get distributed out to those people.
In my mind, I was just like, I don't know what that even means, but luckily, his name's Damon. He's like, I'll walk you through everything and be there. And basically how we're operating is that I'm paying him per release, like a flat rate.
Okay.
But that's the only reason that I'm doing it. I couldn't do it without this person because you need like someone to advise you, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just, in my mind, I was like, shit, I'm DJing, I'm producing music, I'm trying to do events, and now I'm starting my own label. Like, I don't want people to be like, oh, this guy has some followers and he's like, thinks he's
Doing it
hot
all.
shit. When really that's not the case.
I think the important thing is to tie it all in. So I always talk about this, kind of creating this circle of like, okay, you have this label, then you should figure out how to tie that label in so you have an event like party for the label, and then have release parties that you're doing at your events with the, you know what I mean?
Much. Yeah, I know what you mean.
But no, I'm to make it confine it so it's all within this circle that all makes sense.
Yep.
Of a kind of your own Cartfish ecosystem.
Yeah.
That's what I would try and think of if I was you, of how I could tie it all in and make it
Cohesive.
easier, and cohesive. So
Yeah.
it's all with one thing. All right, so you got a new track coming up. Any
I
big
do.
shows before we wrap up here? Because I know we're getting towards the end.
I'm doing like a Polo Pride thing this weekend. The weekend after that for F1, I'm playing at Willie's after the Rufus show. Any like big shows? I'm headlining Columbus Pride, a lot of Pride events. That's like my niche. Trying to think. I'm doing San Diego Pride and Juice. So I have a lot of Pride stuff coming up because it's almost Pride season.
That's awesome.
Yes, it's good, but I'm really trying to get more into like the mainstream. But those are the stuff coming up.
You have that core community, so like just build on it.
Starting somewhere.
It's great, yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you again for coming through and doing this. I'm sure we'll see a lot of Cartfish sets in the near future. But till next time.
Thank you, Landis. Thank you, Wired. Stay tuned for the next one.
I love it.